Welcome to the Dawn of Intuition. I'm your host, Kindred, and this is the time to awaken to a new way of being. Are you feeling an inner call to make the world a better place or to live more joyfully? We each have this inner compass guiding us to our own unique purpose and gifts. As an intuition and empowerment expert, I dare you to take action on that gut feeling or inner knowing. Intuition is simply a muscle that needs to be strengthened. Whether you need it personally or professionally, your intuitive insights create space for new opportunities. Stay tuned with me for tips and tricks on listening to those quiet whispers of wisdom, my next retreat dates, or how to work with me. Are you ready to live the life of your dreams with more joy and ease? The Dawn of Intuition starts now. Welcome to Transformation Talk Radio, the Dawn of Intuition, awaken to a new way of being. My name is Dawn Kindred, and I'm the host, and I'm inviting my identical twin sister today, Jasmine Kindred, on the show. Welcome, Jasmine.
Thanks for having me again, JD. So today's episode is going to dive into some most common questions you get asked when people type in their questions in Insight Timer. So where can this audience find you on Insight Timer if they have any burning questions for you?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this app. It's a free app for anyone who's really interested in spirituality, yoga, lectures. So I just became a new teacher on there, and you can just download the app and type in my name, JD Kindred. You'll find me. When you follow me, I have premium courses. I have a premium course called Reconnect Your Intuition. I have all the events. I never know when the events are. I usually probably do about 2 hours a week of Q&A, live Q&As, and people from all over the world join, which I just love because I have to be like 100% centered and just really in the moment. And we talk about everything intuition, and every, time the energy is different, the people are different. So I just have the funnest time on that app. Now I really encourage all, listeners to continue following me there. If they haven't already, checked out my website at www.intuitivebusinessconnections.com. I have YouTube, I have my retreats, books, coaching, ways you can, work with me in one-to-one coaching. So yeah, there's a lot of ways you can find me, but these specific, today we're really talking about some of the most common questions I'm asked. So I wanted the audience here to hear them.
Yeah, I think the part 1 episode was some nice light questions, but this one we're going to dive deep. We're going to have some heavy hitting questions here. So let's get started. The first question for JD. I get intuitive messages, but I fear that others will judge me if I follow through with them without any concrete evidence. How do I overcome that fear of judgment from others in order to be authentic and in the flow?
Yeah. So I think this is why I'm so passionate about talking about intuition and bringing people together to share about intuition, because I feel that living an intuitive life is living an authentic life. And we are the only ones who know our truth. There's no one else, no one outside of us who can tell us our truth. I remember you as a young girl. This is super rare. I don't know, like, I wasn't thinking about sharing this story, but it came through of like when you were 12 on the playground and you had a profound moment, and I was there and I watched you have a profound
Mm-hmm.
moment of, you were like, this is my mission, this is my purpose. And as a social worker, and it's still valid today. You've been doing this, I don't know if you want to talk about that today, but it's like, as little kids, we know our truth. Often I work with clients, super successful business professionals, and that's the question I ask them: what did you want to be when you were a little girl or a little boy? And they're just like, I forgot. A lot of employees forget. I forget. Entrepreneurs, we're usually living our interest and our passion. So I love talking about entrepreneurship because it's often people are really passionate about creating the lifestyle they want and they're going against maybe what society told them. You know, I work with really, really impressive entrepreneurs who don't have the university degrees and the prestige that the society says. But they've created amazing companies. And it's just about like constantly following your authenticity. And we all have different interests. Like we're identical twins. That's why I love doing this show. We are identical twins. We are brought up the same. We're in the same colors as childhood today, of like Jasmine always had to wear her pink and I always had to wear my blues, like we're still like playing the stereotype a little bit of our childhood. Now people don't know we're twins. Like we live in totally opposite parts of Canada. People don't actually know we're twins. Like I go back to visit you and I run into people because the city is small and people have no idea you have an identical twin. And so we've created these really unique paths for ourselves. And even though we were brought up the same parents and the same, everything was equal, everything down to like, if even as adults now, if you're given one thing, I'm given the same thing, like equal, equal, equal. And yet we're like drastically different humans, drastically different purposes, different missions, different interests, different abilities, different ways we receive intuition. So, yeah, the more you follow your joy and the more you yeah this is why I love talking about intuition too. It's like the more you follow your joy and the more happy you are, people will notice. And some people may want to push you down, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to consciously choose to spend time with other people who lift me up. And it's a conscious choice too. When you start going more on a spiritual path, um hard decisions needs to be made. Am I in the job that's in alignment with my values, with my authenticity, with my interests, with my abilities? Am I with people who lift me up, who want the best for me, or are they draining me, are they putting me down? Like the more we're in tune with our body, the more in tune we are with our surroundings and what's serving us and what's not serving us. And it asks us to make some really big decisions, to leave that relationship, to leave that job, to leave that city. And it's very confronting. And often people are scared to know the answers, so they don't ask the questions. And it's like, that's the question I always start on Insight Timer. What if you lived 100% intuitively? How would your life be different? Just like stop and listen to that. If you lived 100% intuitively, how would your life be different? And sometimes people don't want to hear the answers. And the answers for me sometimes really make me step out of my comfort zone. Well, yeah, I'm always like, when I first started my company 13 years ago, I was like, oh, I'm so anxious. I'm so anxious. I'm so anxious. And you're like, well, yeah, JD, you step out of your comfort zone so much. It's called, what'd you call it? You had some social work term. You're like, this is like,
Exposure therapy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I need. But it was like, you're like, it's circumstantial or situational. You're like, oh, JD, you have like a situational anxiety.
Oh, yes.
And I was like,
Yes.
what's that? I just thought I'm anxious. I'm anxious. Like, no, every moment I'm out of my comfort zone, into the void, into the unknown. And I'm overgeneralizing. I'm trying to like use some social work terms. I'm overgeneralizing, but often I feel like people are simply really, how can I say it? Just how can I say it the best way possible? Like, um, really comfortable being uncomfortable. It's scary to step into the void, to jump off the cliff. And that's often what intuition is. Well, maybe intuition isn't asking you to jump off a cliff, but it's like pushing you to be bigger, to see yourself bigger, to really step into your authentic truth, which takes a lot of courage. Don't you agree?
I totally agree. I think the question where it says, I don't have any concrete evidence, that's the challenge, because you have the messages, you are whole and complete. You have all the inner wisdom, And then we start searching for validation from others, and they don't know. They're just trying to protect us. They're just trying to make sure that we're safe, and we don't want to, follow our dreams. And so, with good intention, they might start judging. So it's about really being particular about who you're sharing your dreams with, who you're sharing your intuitive messages with, because you want to surround yourself with positive coaching. And that's where, JD, I think you're such a such a gift to this world, because you can lift people up and be that guiding light for them, that it's safe to follow their intuition, and that they don't need that validation from their parents or their bosses at work or their friends. It's that, what do you need for yourself? But I also love that you brought up my childhood, because I forgot about that story. That was a profound moment in my life. When I was 12, I was just playing on the playground, and I came across an adult who worked at a group home and was managing some teenagers who were really having some behavioral issues and emotional outbursts. And I was enthralled. I stopped what I was doing and I just watched them. And I just got this little message saying, that is what you're supposed to do in this in this life. And it makes me emotional, because it's just so, like, it was just so clear. And so for the next few years of my life, I started searching, what was that professional doing? What was their job? And I learned it's a social worker. I'm like, okay, I'll get my social work degree. So then I started telling all my friends and family. And they're like, oh no, don't do social work. You don't get paid well. You get burnt out. Don't do that. And everyone in my life talked me out of it. And I just was like, nope, that was the message I got. That's my purpose. So it's interesting, because yeah, people just they don't know what's real and true for you. And so they just want to protect you and talk you out of things. And it feels like judgment, but really, if you don't judge yourself and the messages you get, you will have that clarity to move forward.
Well, it was a profound moment for me to look over. I'm playing, doing whatever. I look over and I see you having this moment. And for me, I just saw troubled youth. Like, and I was like, oh, what are they doing? Me, I was like, that's not my mission at all. And you were having this profound awakening moment, and to witness that and be like, wow. And you've been clear on that ever since. Now, I think everyone dreams of that, of having that moment. Like, even adults, 40, 50, we're all still searching. Like, what is my mission? What is my mission? We're all still, not all, but I don't want to overgeneralize. There's people who are still like, what is my mission? What am I supposed to be doing? That's actually a common question too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could touch upon
Yeah.
that's a whole episode and a half. And again, I'm like the big messenger of follow your joy. Follow your joy. I talk about you a lot actually in Inside Timer. I should send you some recordings.
Okay.
You can watch them because you're on mission, but your job is very draining and it takes a lot out of you. And I'm on mission, but I'm like living all blissed out and happy and light and a very simple, balanced life. And it's like, okay, where there it's important to be on mission, but it's also important to take care of oneself. And I'm super big on self-care. I spend hours every day on self-care. Yes, it's like, but oh, like you're so lucky. No, it's choices I've made to create my life. If I can't pay my bills, well, then I'll have to invite a roommate in to live with me to help pay my bills. Like, I'll have to, as an entrepreneur, I have to be creative every day. I don't have the choice. And my limited mind is very limiting. So I have to be like, okay, universe, you want me to do retreats? You want me to have time to do talks for free? You want me to write books? Well, you need to send people. You need to help me. You need to assist me. I need to feel supported. And how can I? And I receive that support uh and encouragement through synchronicities and through messages. And I feel very supported all the time. Otherwise, it's very scary. It's very scary to be out in the world and be like, well, How can I trust myself in that little message when I need to pay my bills and I have kids and I have a boss and I have like, it's really going against all of the beliefs that we've been fed and dropping back into what brings me joy. Some people are like, JD, how much, like an insight timer, how do you have so much energy? Because I'm always following my passion. I'm always following my joy. I don't push my passion down. I don't push my joy down. I often speak about this of, the levels of consciousness by David Hawkins from the book Letting Go. And he talks about these different levels of consciousness, and the lowest energy vibration is like shame and guilt. And maybe a lot of people live in that deep everyday shame and guilt. And then you go up in consciousness and there's a level of courage where you're more like, that's where it's a breaking point where you're living in courage. And I tend to be very courageous. I'm always trying new things, stepping out of my comfort zone, backpacking the world alone, living alone, like doing everything just in courage. So I'm good with that. But then there's other levels, neutrality and this and love. And I used to think, oh yeah, to live in love, this is the highest vibration. It isn't. A higher vibration than living in love is living in joy. So this is always a message I want to share with people. Like, what brings you joy? When you're, what does your family really want? What do your friends really want? People just want you to
Mm-hmm.
be happy,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're just living your truth and your happiness, it's like they can't say anything, right? Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's a fun question. Okay, the next question. Do you think it's possible to be wanting more than spirit is willing to give in reference to abilities?
Yeah. It's all the idea of our limiting. I love talking about this. It's like we can maybe share more in other episodes about how limiting we are. I talk a lot about this, about, oh, this is my dream, this is my goal, this is what I think, this is my budget, this is my time constraint, this is da 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 da. But like spirit, source, the universe, God, grandmothers and grandfathers, whatever you want to say, higher self, I feel want so much more for you. So it's really, what's coming through to me is getting out of our own way. I never said that
Mm.
before. If we just need to get out of our own way. Oh, I love
Mhm.
that. Just channeling that live.
You impress yourself.
So and such a this wisdom, because it's not from me. It's not from me. Intuition is so much more than me. It's not me, you know? It's coming through. I don't know where. How can I know? I have my school of thought. We all have our belief systems about it, but it's like, how can I prove that? I can't. I can only live by example. And if I'm happy, and we spent like 6 months backpacking Costa Rica together, and people would look at me like, JD, how are you managing your company? How can you afford your home and backpacking? And how do you have, and people just don't understand me. I'm like, actually, it was so easy. And I was making money living in these gorgeous homes in Costa Rica. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. Can you believe it? And it's just like, it surprised me. It surprised me because my limited mind would never have created that. But I'm just constantly connected to, hey, what's next? What's the next best thing for me? Hey, put an ad online for this. And then we met these people, we house sit here, we did that, we did this. And it was like such a magical trip and abundant. I was earning more money when I stopped working and I surrendered to the universe. And this is such a big thing I want to share with all people, and especially entrepreneurs. Like, really, the when I was working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, I was earning less than I do now. When I was fighting and going, and then I just dropped in. Now I have space. I've created space to work on other projects, start new companies, start new investments. Where our family's creating a beautiful retreat center, an eco retreat center in Costa Rica now. Why? Because I took a year off to go travel and look for investments and be open to what could be. And I speak about this a lot too, of how like that investment, I thought I wanted 1 acre. 1 acre is enough. Who am I to ask for more? My self-worth, my limiting belief. And I was guided to this piece of land that was 42 acres. And it was a strong message. This is our gift to you. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, I loved our Costa Rica winter together because when we would come across vacationers, they would be mind blown. They're like, our 1 week vacation is too expensive. I can't imagine budgeting for 6 months. But I feel like we've all been caught up in a lie because a 1 week vacation is more expensive than a 6 month backpacking, traveling, living amongst the locals. Like it's a completely different experience altogether. And it's so much more nourishing. And yeah, I love it. Okay. So the next question, you say, life becomes easy and effortless when taking inspired action. But has intuition ever steered you wrong? Or is there a time when you initially thought your intuition steered you wrong, but since realized how divine the message was?
Well, that's a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll start with the first question. Inspired action. I love this because I'm a big teacher. Slow down, relax your life, meditate, calm yourself. But if we're just sitting, all day receiving guidance, divine guidance, and not taking that action, we're not serving or contributing or doing anything to help our lives. So it's really important to have that balance to, it's like the pray and listen, it's like prayers. It's like, okay, universe, I need help. And then sitting in that meditative state is really the way to receive those answers and that guidance. So inspired action is super important. I receive intuition in different ways. Often it's clairaudience, but to come to this part of Canada, it was through clairvoyance and through my dream world. And I was having very intense dreams. And I was very resistant to moving here. I didn't speak French. I didn't have a support system. I didn't have friends. Didn't have a job. Who would hire me? I don't even speak the language. My whole life is customer service, like my whole work experience. But those dreams were so profound. And it was like, okay, I need to pay attention. This is a message. I need to pay attention. After enough dreams, it's like, okay. For me, it's regular, like the whole sign of three. When you hear like three of the same information, it was three really profound dreams. It's like, okay, I paid attention. I opened my eyes. Was like, I'll try. So I booked a flight here for Saturday and then a flight out for Sunday. Just going to go for coffee with one friend. That's it. I'm good. Okay, universe, I listen to you. Fine.
Only JD.
I'm gonna do the effort. I listened. I'm gonna do the effort. I flew here, and that was 16 years ago. Actually, probably to this day, May 20, 2008. So, anyways, okay, universe. But so I listened. Am I living my dream life today? Yes. Was I living my dream life in 2008? No. It was 2 years of depression and the hardest time of my life. I've never experienced depression before. Like I was like, I couldn't even communicate to my neighbors.
Almost culture shock, almost.
I was not planning. I was planning on moving to South America, not like Eastern Canada. Like this was not in my plan. This was not in that logical brain up there at all. But I don't know. My mission was somewhere different, and universe, spirit ensured I got here. And in my deepest lows, I found meditation. And when I found Vipassana meditation, these 10-day silent retreats, it was this deep knowing. I believe in past lives, this deep knowing of that I've done this for many past lives. And I live an hour from the center. And where you live, you're like 8 hours from the closest center. So I go there on the weekends. I volunteer. I'm there every year. Like Every New Year's, I'm always bringing in the new year in silence. And that was, for me, meditation changed my life. It changed my brain completely. I used to be such an angry person, so
Mm.
reactive. People see me as super zen and chill, and it's like, well, you didn't see me
I
16
can
years
attest
ago.
to her childhood.
My childhood, sure. I was angry as a child, but
Oh,
just
she was,
16.
yes.
I don't know where all that rage came from. Like, I remember mom
I
would be
know,
like, go in the bedroom and tantrum. And we had such a beautiful childhood. And I would just
I know.
tantruming. I was like, where is all of this rage? So whatever. I still have that fire in me, people who still
Yeah.
know me, but it's more zen, and it comes out when it's needed. And I think anger is beautiful. It comes out when it's needed, but it's not 24/7. But ooh, it was I was at a really low time when I first moved here, and it brought me to where I found this spiritual awakening, which is through meditation. And so, is it good or bad as humans? We can talk about that in another episode. Okay, it was rough, it was painful, bad, but on a soul level, it was so good. That's the part of, like, when partners come into our lives, and it's like, oh, or anyone, or friends, or bosses, or anyone who creates pain in our life. Well, they're helping us the most. Those are our biggest, those are people who help us the most in our life. So we have to thank them the most for helping us on our journey, even though it can be painful.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Maybe we'll dive into that more next episode because that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, I think we might have time for maybe one quick question left.
I don't have any quick questions. I have to say, maybe they're all quite long and
Okay,
in
well,
depth.
just the next one. Just the next one.
I think, well, the next one is what we talked about already, but it says, "Does my self-doubt limit me?"
Mm. Mm-hmm. I think
Mhm.
so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yes. But on a grander scale, we limit ourselves for everything. We have that message. No, it's wrong. It's constant fight. I try and live. I used to think I live 100% intuitively. Now I say like maybe 90%, because there's 10% where I struggle sometimes, where I know it's clear, it feels clear that I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, I shouldn't go there. And I still like, I'm going to try. And I push that away and I try. And I'm still doing that. So like I can't even say I live 100% intuitively, but it's an experience, and we don't have to judge it. It's okay, I doubt it, let's try. Like, just dare to fail a little bit. um
Yeah, to go out on a limb where you don't need the concrete evidence like your logical brain is looking for. You just need to have a leap of faith and, yeah, trust the process.
Yeah, start small, before quitting jobs and moving and all these things, little things to work the muscle. Hey, I thought of someone, I thought of an old friend. I don't know why, I'm going to call them. And maybe they were thinking of you. Again, in our one episode of trusting, it was like, find parking spot, just practicing with little things. Oh, my example of buying food. Why do I have to buy this dessert when a couple days later a friend called, invited herself over for supper, and I had something to contribute, like random things that you're like, oh, that was fun. Oh, that was fun. And just to build confidence that way, so you doubt yourself less. That's always my suggestion for people.
Mm-hmm. And even in the field that I work with people, I follow my intuition and initially get a read on them. And then I, instead of making assumptions, I start diving in and getting the evidence and asking the questions to actually get to know them and go, like, was my intuition on point or was it off? And that's how I build up my intuition too, is I just start asking people questions once I get to know people.
And then I would encourage people to ask themselves questions. Ask yourselves questions about this. What would make me happy right now? What does my inner child need right now? Does it need to go to that event, or does it need to stay home and have a bath and do some self care? Little things like
Mhm.
that. I love this topic. I love talking to you. I love seeing you. I
Thank you.
wish I could do this all day, but our time is up for today. I encourage everyone to follow me on Insight Timer, to find me on my website, www.intuitivebusinessconnections.com, and join us for our next couple episodes. So thanks again, Jasmine.
Thank you, JD. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to The Dawn of Intuition. I'm your host, JD Kindred. Tune in every first and third Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio as we learn to listen to that quiet whisper of wisdom from our higher selves. Dare to dream bigger, take inspired action, and live your authentic truth. Live an intuitive life, feeling more joyful and empowered in everything you do. For more tips and tricks, follow me online at www.intuitivebusinessconnections.com.